Hi guys, my name's Cassandra and welcome to my video broadcast. So for the last week, I went to go see Mockingjay Part 2. Don't worry guys, no spoilers are in this video, but if you haven't gone and seen it, go and watch it. It totally lives up to the standards of the last 3 films. One thing that I realized while watching the film was the pronunciation of Panem. All throughout the book, whenever I saw this word, I always pronounced it as Panem. I'm not really sure why. Maybe just thinking like Pan Am Games or something. But yeah, I always pronounce it as Panem. This got me thinking, I do this quite a lot. Whenever I read books, I don't really take a lot of time to try and figure out the correct pronunciation of names. Whenever I see a name, I just kind of pick something, make it work throughout the rest of the series. This can lead to a lot of confusion. The one big time that I've done this is while reading Twilight. Whenever I read this word, I always associated it with Carl. I don't know why, I guess this was just too complicated of a word for me, so it became Carl. So throughout the entire book series, Edward had a dad called Carl. And then fast forward to seeing Twilight in theaters, and Edward introduces his dad, Carlisle. I was so confused. I had no idea who this Carlisle person was and what he was doing and where was Carl. It took a few minutes for it to finally click in that Carl and Carlisle were one and the same. So yeah, the entire series, I just assumed that his name was Carl. Other series that I've done this is in the House of Night series, her name is Aphrodite, not Aphrodite. In Percy Jackson and the Olympians, her name is Thalia, not Thalia. In the Infernal Devices series, Will and Jem are Parabatai, not Paradabai. And don't even get me started on all the different names in Lord of the Rings. I'm sure I pronounced them all horribly wrong. Even in Harry Potter, a lot of readers struggled with pronouncing Hermione, so much so that in Goblet of Fire, J.K. Rowling made Victor Crumb struggle with Hermione's name so that she could spell it out for readers. This does not become an issue if you're just reading the book, because you always know who the character is and you know who you're talking about. When this becomes an issue is when you try and have an out loud conversation about a book series and you mispronounce all the names. I tend to mispronounce names all the time. One of the times was while reading the Game of Thrones series. Game of Thrones is a pretty big TV show and a lot of people have watched it. As with all things, I wanted to read the books before I watched the show. I was going through reading all the books, and I overheard my colleagues having a conversation about their favorite characters in Game of Thrones. Side note, all my colleagues had watched the TV show but had never read any of the books. But I thought it was fine because the books and the TV show are actually pretty similar, and I was around the same spot as the TV show, so I didn't fear having any spoilers. They were talking about the different characters they enjoyed in this series, and I decided to bring up, oh yeah, I love Tyrone. Yes, I thought whenever I saw this word that this character was named Tyrone. I don't know why, but that was the name I associated it with. And as soon as it left my mouth, I knew I said something wrong. They just came and gave me that look like, what are you talking about? Until they finally realized I was talking about Tyrion. And I could feel the judgment off though, because I pronounced this character's name wrong. Which, first of all, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because I know way more about this character than you'll ever know by watching the TV show. But, yeah, I pronounced it wrong. And ever since then, I have a fear of talking about characters out loud. Has this ever happened to you guys? Any characters that you've realized you've been mispronouncing the entire series as you're reading along? Leave a comment below. Okay, so that's all I have for this week. Until next time, bye!